What's up, everybody? Damien here with this week's edition of the Live Your Best Life webcast. When we come into this space, it is all about character development, the importance of that particular subject matter. And when we develop character, how does that allow us to tap into our own super genius or our own superpowers? How does that allow us to become people who are different so that we can achieve things that are better? I tell you all already see my buddy Joe here on this call with me. Joe and I, I'll put it this way. I saw him on a live broadcast, just kind of chatting it up with Les Brown. And for anybody who's had the opportunity to just kind of follow me and follow my work, you all know that folks like Les Brown, Jim Rohn, Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins are people that really I glean a lot from. And, I even take iterations of what it is that I glean from them for the sake of just investing in my own character. So, Joe, I am so excited for you to be in this space with me today. How are you tonight?
I am blessed to be in your presence.
All is well. All is well. So I always love the opportunity when we get into this space, knowing that we're going to drive towards a conversation, really focusing on character development and the importance of that topic, for us to first start with learning about you. Tell us about your story, and particularly as you share your story, kind of share some of those highlights in your story that has afforded you the opportunity to get to where you are today.
Okay, well, I come from a pretty middle class family, and I thought I was actually a pretty smart guy. I worked really hard, learned a lot about electronics, electrical engineering, worked hard, worked for corporate America, made a million, and lost everything.
Mm.
Talk about character development. So, one of the things I learned is sometimes smart people mess up, and it was very, very humbling. And building myself back up, that was a long journey, and I didn't file bankruptcy. I worked really hard and paid people off and negotiated some things and made some friends, lost some friends, went through depression, but um, at the end of the day, I had a taste of what success looked like and what it felt like, and I wanted it again. So, in addition to being depressed and actually seeking, psychiatric and mental health help, one of the things that happened, I was blessed and I got a mentor. And I got to spend 7 years with a guy named Jay Abraham. And one of the things I did is I went to one of his paid events. It was a $5,000 event, and I put $500 on a credit card. And I went to this event, and I was blown away. There was no selling at the back of the room. It was not like seminars you've ever been to, because it was the real stuff. We didn't go from 8 to 5 we went from 8 in the morning till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 days in a row, and there was no selling at the back of the room. People were delivering the real good stuff. Matter of fact, I was in a hot seat, and I got pretty humiliated on stage because as much as I knew about technology, I didn't know about marketing.
Mm.
And it was pretty humiliating, but it made me aware of what I needed to work on. And one of the things I learned from Napoleon Hill is he says, "You failed. Congratulations. Now you're an expert at what not to do." And so after this event, one of the real blessings was Jay Abraham's office contacted me. He said, "Joe, you want to go to the next seminar?" I'm like, "Dudes, I can't even pay for the last one. I'm still working on that." And they said, "We know. Could you barter?" And I'm like, "What could I possibly do?" And they said, "We need transcription." So they sent me boxes and boxes of audio cassettes that were sorted by 30 different topics from 30 years of marketing think tanks. And I listened to those audios. I had a yellow pad and I word for word with my hand on a rewind button, word for word. And some of these audios were very difficult to listen to. And then I summarized them and typed them up and sent them into Jay's office, and they were used in the Jay Abraham Marketing Encyclopedia. So I actually helped put together a marketing encyclopedia. So I had these two forces going on. I lost all this money. I made money. I lost money. That's the second force. And the third force is I was getting immersed in like the real stuff. Because I think really one of the reasons that I failed in business, and I think a lot of people fail in business, is because most everything you've learned about business is a big fat lie. It's not all straight. A lot of people have an agenda selling the stuff that they're selling, and it's not the stuff that's going to work for you. So I went on a many decade quest for the truth of what really works. I went on a quest for the truth. I went on a quest for wisdom, and somewhere right around 1998, 1999, I made a decision that I was no longer going to be in technology. I was going to be a marketing consultant, and so that in 1999, where my net worth was minus $250,000, I made a declaration: I'm starting a business as a marketing consultant.
Hmm.
That takes character. It
Yeah.
takes a little bit of insanity.
Yeah. So $1 million, right? And obviously, that's reminiscent for me of Jim Rohn, how he talks about his journey from 25 to 31, becoming a millionaire and losing all of it by 33. I can only imagine what that experience is like, right? Being able to attain that amount of income and then losing it. And to your point, the journey to really kind of bootstrap it, pick yourself up and pivot and get back to a place of where it is that you want to be for yourself and also for your family. Talk to us about some of those intangible internal traits, those characteristics, if you will, that you think mostly helped you to get back from this place of, like you said, a negative 250K net value to being able to overcome that.
One is just really a belief that if you work really hard for a long time, tomorrow can be better than today. Because it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But one of the lessons you need to learn is there's a Shakespeare quote that I really love, and it's our doubts are our traitors and make us lose the good we oft win by failing to attempt. Our doubts are our traitors. Our doubts are like a Judas. They will betray us. You could be 99.9% sure, but if you got a 0.1% doubt, it will betray you. It will sabotage you. It will jack you up. Our doubts are our traitors, and then they make us lose all the blessings, all the good stuff, because we don't try, because we have that little piece of doubt. And so one of the things I learned is so if you have a seed of doubt, I want to suggest the best way to overcome that is to cast out that seed of doubt and replace it with a seed of faith. Because we've learned in the scriptures that a seed with the seed of faith, you can move mountains. With a mustard seed of faith, you can move mountains. And so if you're 99.9% sure, but you got that 0.1 doubt, evict your doubt, replace it with some faith, and that's going to move you into a place of certainty, because faith that fizzles before the finish was faulty from the first.
You got to go ahead and repeat that for us so we can make sure we catch that that last line. Faith that fizzles before the finish was faulty at first. Is that it?
Faith fizzles before the finish was faulty from the first.
You know, what is very interesting and hearing you speak to the reality of having to work a long time and very hard. And you had a lot of emphasis and hyperbole on how hard you have to work and, again, how long it could take. What was it about you that allowed you to persevere and to have that type of tenacity and grit to not give up when you were on your journey of overcoming and working towards, again, where you are now and where you were able to kind of lift yourself up to?
Can I give you a true confession?
Please talk to us.
I did quit.
Okay.
I gave up. I gave up hope. I lost hope. I realized there's two kind of hope: real hope and false hope. There's a lot of people selling hopium. There's a lot of false hope in the world, and I got tired of people making hope promises to me that were not based on the truth. So it was a really painful time for me. Trust me, you know, it really wreaked havoc on my dating life. Having a net worth of minus $250,000, no woman wants to go. It was the most emasculating experience I've ever been through, because just as men look at women who don't have the looks, they treat them as sex objects, or women that have the looks are sex objects, and women that don't get treated as ugly. Men are treated as success objects. And a man who does not have money is treated as ugly.
Mm.
Okay. And it was a painful time. But how did I get through it? I had a taste of some of the success. And also, I really had a shift that I could help other people. I could actually help other people with all this knowledge. One of the things that happened for me is I was learning all this stuff from Jay Abraham, and I distinctly remember I was just learning Jay Abraham's top 10 marketing mistakes that almost every business makes. And I learned this stuff, like practically memorized. And I went to a trade show, and there were booths at this trade show. And I went by every single one of the booths at the trade show, and every one of the booths at the trade show were making marketing mistakes. Mm. Like every business I was looking at, they were making marketing mistakes. And I wanted to help everybody. So I realized that I had experienced like some knowledge and wisdom from my mentor, and I wanted to help everybody, but one of the sad truths is everybody doesn't want to be helped. And so I recognized that I was gaining like tremendous expertise, but I also realized that entrepreneurs can have large egos, and your ego is not your amigo. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn how to talk to people to get them to admit that their shit stinks. Sorry about the language. No, I had to admit that like their stuff wasn't perfect. I had to get people to admit that their advertising wasn't working and their marketing wasn't working. And so you need to learn. I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned that's super powerful as a coach is I learned that a lot of things were the truth and a lot of things were not the truth. And I actually did this thing where I had a piece of paper that said your ad sucks, and I would cut people's ads out, paste it to this, and mark the things that needed to be improved. And I mailed it to people, and I alienated a lot of people because the lesson, the thing that I learned that's so powerful is you got to learn, like there are valid marketing concepts and invalid marketing concepts. You got to learn to invalidate the concept without invalidating the person. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a child of God. God doesn't make junks. You are valid as a human being. But some of the things you're doing to try and drive a business and get your cash register ring, some of those things are invalid, and it's not personal. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm actually here to help you and heal you so that your business can work better.
You said a statement earlier that really resonated with me with some of the coaching work, also time that I've spent as a church planting pastor, when you spoke of the fact that everybody doesn't want to be helped. A lot of people, as I found, and would just really love to hear some more insight from your end on this, desire better, but there seems to be oftentimes misalignment in their actions. That I articulate that I want wealth and I want success and I want prosperity and I want to live my best life. But when it comes to the actions that are necessary, and then also perpetually doing those actions and changing your habits, sometimes what I've seen is a disconnect. I just wonder if you have any thoughts for either the coach who is trying to work with populations of folks who are saying that they want different, they want help, they want prosperity, but there's misalignment in actions, and or if you would like to speak to that person who for whatever reason has this inhibitor that says, man, this thing keeps getting in the way from me actually doing the things that align with the type of lifestyle that I want to live.
Okay, while you were doing that, I pulled a quote up from my book. It's
Yeah.
actually a quote from Michael Gerber.
Okay.
He wrote The E-Myth. And I love this quote. It's a little bit long, but just let me roll with it.
Go ahead.
What does the successful person know that the unsuccessful person doesn't? The answer is lots. But in my view, that's not why he or she is successful. My experience has proven to me that despite common beliefs, the people who succeed in business don't do so because of what they know, but because of their insatiable need to know more. Second part of the quote, conversely, the problem with most failing businesses I've encountered is not that the business owners don't know enough about finance, marketing, or operations. They don't, but those things are easy enough to learn. The problem is they think they know enough, so they spend their time defending what they know rather than discovering what they don't.
Mm.
So, this gets into a very interesting thing. What gets us in more trouble? What we know or what we don't know? And I think that sometimes we grasp on to what we know so much that we lack the ability to let go a little bit to learn a higher level of truth. So for the person, see, this is the thing: is one of the worst enemies in business is success.
Mm.
Because success gives you this feeling of comfortableness. Like, I'm doing pretty good. I don't need to change a thing. But, it's having the humility. I'll come back to that in a minute. It's having the humility to admit that I can do better.
Mm.
One of the things I'll talk to people, and I know they're hurting in business, but I'll ask two questions connected. I'll say, what's working and what's not? And they say, well, everything's working and there's nothing not working. And it's like, well, this conversation's going to be short. Because the biggest way to fix your problems is admit you have problems. Okay? All progress begins by telling the truth.
Mm.
And so, if you can't be straight with me and tell me, that there are some things that are not working, there's no reason for us to continue this conversation. So, humility is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking more of others.
Mm-hmm.
One you like that?
I'm liking all of this. I'm definitely, this is going to be one of those webcasts that I find myself watching over and over again on repeat. So yeah, talk to us about it.
Yeah, I mean, too many people are kind of like, in order to get things done, in order to get things done right, you got to do it yourself, or if it is to be, it's up to me. And that is actually a very important part of entrepreneurship, is taking the bull by the horns and making things happen. But I call that the presumption of internal genius. And you can abbreviate it PIG.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm the only one smart enough to do this. Presumption of internal genius. And so that kind of thinking as an entrepreneur will get you started. But that will be your biggest restraint or constraint to your growth at some point. When you start growing, you're going to find out your biggest obstacle is you.
Mm.
And so a higher level of entrepreneurship is your success depends on the support of others.
Mm.
See, the truth is, I talk to business owners and say, I understand marketing. They took a college class and they got 40 hours of marketing training. Well, I worked with Jay Abraham and I worked with Michael Levine and I worked with Les Brown and I worked with a lot of people. My time investment in me learning marketing is over 25,000 hours.
Mm.
And so when I talk to somebody that thinks they know marketing because they took 40 hours of training, I'm like, okay, show me what you got.
And what is it that they're able to show you when you ask that question?
Well,
It depends, I guess.
what comes up is what they don't know that they don't know. So
Yeah.
for people like that, first thing is if you want help, the first thing you got to do is admit you got a problem.
Yeah.
If you got no problems, this conversation's over. I want to go find somebody that's humble enough to say, I need help. It's like, is if you don't think you need help, guess what? You're not going to get much help.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask, you shall receive, but you better make sure you're asking somebody in the know, because there are a lot of people that aren't in the know will give you really bad advice.
You
Go
know,
ahead, them.
it's so interesting the simplicity of what it was that you just said. If I want to know something, let me go and ask the question. If I want to find something, let me go and knock on some doors. Right? We overcomplicate things that really should be super duper simple. Eh,
But but but
yeah,
you got to realize too, though, you got to ask the right people.
yeah,
I mean, you got to ask God in the form of prayer. But if you want to learn about jewelry, don't ask a bricklayer.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
If you want to learn plumbing, don't ask a skydiver. Okay. It's like if you want to learn about skydiving, you talk to a skydiver. Okay. So, and this is the problem is, where did who did you learn your money beliefs from?
Mm.
And were they super successful? Or were they successful at all? And so often, see, you might want to write this one down. We are tattooed in our cradles with the beliefs of our tribe. And if our tribe had poverty mentality, we're going to inherit, we're going to be tattooed with those poverty mentality beliefs. And so, if you want to learn the beliefs of prosperity, you may need to walk away from the tribe that doesn't have those beliefs and go to the tribes and the tribal leaders of the people who do have those beliefs. Because you can't learn from somebody who doesn't have the knowledge and the wisdom to teach what you're looking to learn.
It's wow, just so much in this conversation that we can unpack, and I am excited that with this webcast and just really how these opportunities happen is that it just kind of accelerates the opportunity for us to really leverage this webcast to build beyond this, and just super excited to just follow up with you, learn from you, and invest even in what it could look like to just kind of get on a path and a journey to just really get my marketing right and to take advantage of those type of things. I want you to talk to us, Joe, about the thing and or things that excite you the most in this season of your journey. You spoke of your book a moment ago. And then also, as you were talking, would really like you to make it very clear that if folks want to follow up with you, particularly as it pertains to the marketing work that you do, talk to us about that. What's exciting you most? And if implicit in that, you're going to talk to us about the book, your marketing work. We would love to hear a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, what really excites me? Uh, um, there's three reasons to be in business. One is, money, meaning, and freedom. And, I like making the money, but doing meaningful work, changing lives. My goal for 2020 is to help 100 people either build a better business, people that are already in business, or create a business from scratch based on strong fundamentals. And what excites me is, actually helping clients get results. I had a little simple win. It was like 2 days ago. I had a client contact me who was a past client. He's a past client. And I helped him. He had a job and he set up a side business and got the cash register to ring. But he just lost his job and he wants to hire me again. And I told him to work with him for the year. It would be $7,500. And he said, Joe, you give so much value. I'm going to pay you more than what you're asking. I'm going to pay you $8,000.
Yeah.
Now, that says a lot about his character, first of all. And second of all, it's a validation that I really do show up as a massive contribution for the people that I serve. I really care about my clients. And thirdly, there's a lesson there. I just did a little short video today, but the victory is I had a client say he was going to pay me more than I was asking. That's a victory. Okay, that feels good. It's not even about the money, it's about the fact that he was acknowledging that I'm doing life changing work. There's two challenges. Number one is how can you make such a huge contribution to people that they come to you and say, I'm going to pay you more than what you're asking? That's the first challenge. And the second challenge for you and your audience is I want you to go out this week and you're going to spend some money on something. I want you to actually, um, excuse me, had a little sneeze there.
No worries, no worries.
Go out this week and, if there's somebody that you're going to hire and have do some work for you, I want to challenge you to actually pay them more that they're asking, and notice the good feeling it creates in the person you're buying from, and notice the good feeling it creates in you to actually give a little bit more instead of being that person that gives a little bit less. So the work I do, the intention of the work I do, the intention we do with clients is it's three parts. Do what you love, share the love so you can receive the love. Do what you love for yourself and for your clients. Choose work that you love doing anyway, you're passionate about it, but do work that you love sharing with other people, your customers. That's the first step. Do what you love. Then share the love through your actual service to your people, to your customers. Share the love. Share the love through effective marketing so that more people can find you, so that finally you can receive the love in the form of cash from grateful clients, number one. Receive the love in the form of fulfillment of knowing that you serve somebody and you've changed their life, and you can feel good at night because you're doing serving people in exchange for that money. You're making a difference in people's life, and you also receive the love in that sense of fulfillment, like I'm doing good in the world. Do what you love, share the love, receive the love. So that's the intention of what we do with the employee escape plan, helping people start a business from scratch. Now, how do we do that mechanically? It's actually kind of 6 parts. Number one is P. It's planning. It's all P's. 6 P's. Planning, choosing your business wisely. So when you start a business, you want to do something that's in alignment with your personality, your character, your passions, your competence. And, choose your business wisely. So that's the first one. And you know what? I could teach you all the other stuff about business. If you get this one wrong, it's all going to be a waste of time. If you choose your business foolishly, you got to live with the consequences. Number 2 is positioning. Positioning is branding. Positioning is understanding the problem that you solve in the marketplace, the branding, the emotional triggers, the memorability of, do you know how big problem? What I do is big solution. Do you know how millions of people every day drive reluctantly to a job they don't want to go to? And do you know that so many of those people are praying for somebody to hold their hand and mentor them and connect the dots so they can start their own business, so they can be successful and they never have to go back to a soul-sucking job? Well, I'm Joe Nicassio, and I am the answer to that prayer. Okay? That's called positioning. That's branding. And then the third piece is packaging. Now that you know what problem you solve and the emotions behind it, you need to come up with a solution. You need to package a product or a service, or products and services, so that you have this is what you get for your money. This is what I do for you. This is how your life will be better. This is the package of what, this is my offer. And so packaging and marketing is really 2 major pieces. It's the offer itself and the storytelling around that offer. So that's part of your packaging. So if we took, if we take you in a brown paper bag versus you in a powder blue Tiffany box, one would be perceived as more valuable. But it's the same you, right? So that's what packaging is. Now that you've got a package, now you know what you're selling and what you're offering. You got to promote it. You got to get it out to the world. You got to share your story. You got to share your offer. You got to let people know you exist. A lot of people don't know you exist. And so there's this acronym, OPEN. We want to move people from oblivious to pondering to evaluating to having an emotional need. But it starts with oblivious. They don't know you exist. And so one of the things that's really cool in marketing is you can orchestrate the relationship. You can put your best foot forward for somebody who's having a first contact with you. Okay, so that was promotion. Promotion is lead generation. And then lead generation leads into persuasion. So you have lead nurturing and then the actual selling, the closing the sale. So persuasion is the next P. That's the fifth P. So now that you got people raising their hand and they're in your ecosystem and they're receiving your information, now that they're in your marketing and you're using marketing to raise the buying temperature and get them hotter for what you got, then some of those people are going to start calling you or scheduling appointments with you so that you can have that persuasion conversation, because at this point they're curious. And the role of selling is to move people from curious to committed. Okay? Mm-hmm. And if you do this well, this is where you're going to get paid. And that rolls you into the sixth P, or the last P, which is performance. Now that you've negotiated the deal and you've negotiated payment and you're getting paid now you got to deliver the goodies. You got to perform. And if you do it well, you will, number one is you'll generate a customer. If you do it well, you'll get repeat customers. If you do it well, you're going to get referrals because those people are going to be happy with the work you're doing with them. And if you perform well, those people will give you video testimonials and they'll sing your praises and you actually start to develop raving fans. So that's kind of the process I take people through on a startup business process. I mean, it's a lot. Let me pass the baton back to you if you have any questions about that process.
Well, as stated earlier, there's so many questions that I can ask, and obviously in a format like this is limited, but you have already been exposed to the fact that I'm just a very inquisitive person. So we can go on and on for days about these things. Just so super elated for your willingness to be vulnerable and transparent in a space like this for myself and my audience. And we're just at the point right now, Joe, whereby for at least this segment, and hopefully we'll have some more in the future, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But before we conclude this segment today, Joe, I just want to know, based on all of the things that we had an opportunity to share, if there's any thought that's top of mind that you will want to leave with my audience, folks who might watch this later on that are already kind of in your network, just kind of what nugget or what lasting impression would you like to make? But before you answer that, I want to say this to everybody who's watching. Let me go ahead and look at these people very closely so I can make this appeal. Hey, as Joe stated earlier, folks, we have not because we ask not. There are so many people who are going to watch this who are in a place whereby you are stuck and you can utilize the support from somebody like Joe Nicassio. All right. I want you to not hesitate. If you are in that particular place, reach out to me if you want to get connected to Joe. He's on social media. He's on Facebook. That's how I found him. Right. And reach out. Don't be that type of person who is just using lip service, saying that you want better, but not actually taking the steps to connect yourself. Here's the word, to mentors who've actually been there and want to make investments in you. And I love the type of people like Joe just articulated about himself that find great fulfillment in their servitude towards others. And people, please hear the price point that he gave for a year, an annual subscription of his services. is very feasible for a lot of us who are trying to get from A to B, who are trying to get from a place of brokenness and just dilapidation to a place of now I'm a champion and I'm having massive success in my life. So I just wanted to make that public service announcement because I'm going to tell you all in 30 minutes, I'm sitting here taking notes and I'm actually facilitating this live webcast, trying to type, but I'm like, yo, I want to make sure that I capture this. So imagine what you or what I could get if we would connect ourselves with somebody like Joe for an entire year. Particularly as it pertains to marketing support, to character development, something that y'all know I'm super excited about. Y'all can tell I'm really enjoying this time together. So I wanted to just, Joe, make that public service announcement real quick for my people, for an audience that might either watch this, that's watching this live, or might catch it afterwards. But now, that being said, drop us with any concluding thoughts that you might have for the people.
Got two or three things that came to my mind. So the first thing is there's two opposing forces. Can you see my hands?
Absolutely.
So on the one hand, people want to be an entrepreneur. They want to succeed. They want to make money. But on the other hand, there is a tremendous amount of fear of businesses fail. It's so risky. And a lot of that is really limiting beliefs. Okay. And so I just want you to know that let's move you from wantrepreneur to entrepreneur. Like, let's move you from wanting to have a business that works to actually creating a business that works at the cash register with happy customers, where you're creating money and meaningful work and you're actually having some freedom. So let's create a business that works. One of the biggest things that gets people in trouble, we've all seen this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And a lot of people read Think and Grow Rich and they don't grow rich. Do you know why? Because the book isn't quite accurate. It's think accurately and grow rich. If you're thinking I used to think that wisdom and discernment was the ability to sort right from wrong, and at some level it is, but true discernment is the ability to sort right from almost right, because almost right isn't quite right. Okay? And that's a large part of what I do with my clients is fine-tune the thinking, fine-tune the actions so you can hit the sweet spot and be way more effective. Because almost right will get you some results, but there's a lot of struggle in almost right. And when you fine-tune your thinking and nail it, you hit the sweet spot and your effectiveness will go way up through the roof. So that was just a few thoughts that I had to wrap this up. If people want to contact me, my website is employeeescapeplan.com. I have some free resources I can give to people. I got a couple podcasts that are in the can. I haven't launched my podcast yet, but I've got them on a YouTube. But if somebody private messaged me, I got one on choosing your business wisely, and I got another one on doing what you love. And I'd be happy to send those links. Just send me a private message and say I want to see those podcast episodes, and I'll be happy to send those resources to people. And look, I'm available to connect with people and talk about, like, do you really want to make that business work in 2020? Let's have that conversation. And I promise you, you don't have to hire me to get value from me. And I promise you that if we have that conversation, it'll be valuable to you, even if you never hire me. I want to help people. This is a cause for me, okay? We've created a culture of people that are not self-reliant. They're employer reliant. And employers don't take care of employees like they used to. And so if you want to become more self-reliant instead of being employer reliant, if you want to start making your own money in your own business instead of being somebody else's servant, that's not going to truly take care of you. Because look, if you're not building your dream, you're building someone else's. And that's what I'm about. We don't have an unemployment problem in this country as much as we have an underemployment problem. Most people that have a job are underemployed. They're not using their magic. They're not using their gifts from God. They're not using all their magic. And if you want to bring your magic to your business and create something that's specifically designed to bring all of your magic to the table, that's what I'm all about. So thank you for having me on your show here. I appreciate you. Hope I didn't go too long there, but
Absolutely not. This is a very kind of flexible space. We know that people's attention spans and things of that nature are such, whereas, that's the reason why we have this arbitrary number of 30 minutes, but you're just giving us so much great insight on this call tonight to the point, whereas it definitely wasn't too long. Again, this conversation is so rich. I wish we can go on for hours, but all of the pleasure is mine, Joe. Again, I am glad and I am grateful that now we can consider folks who know each other. And I'm sure that we'll take this conversation offline and continue to build and continue to just learn of each other's stories. So thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But if you could just kind of stick around a little bit, we'll talk offline after the call.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, another installation of the Live Your Best Life webcast. I was absolutely transparent with Joe before the call, and I let him know. And I'm going to go ahead and share this with you all. I probably shouldn't, but hey, I'm just that type of dude that just tells it like it is. I don't even do these calls really for you all. I do them selfishly for me. And I know as I'm doing them for me and I'm having conversations with amazing people like Joe, I had one with Steve not too long ago, my mentor, Mark Chasman, and others who've been on this line with me. I'm learning so much. And though I'm doing it selfishly, the reason why I do it in webcast format is because I really believe that folks have the opportunity that as I'm learning to glean these same insights that you can apply. And when you apply them, be able to unleash and tap into your own genius and superpower. That is my aspiration. And that is why I do this. But I'm going to tell you all, there was a bit of conviction tonight on this call. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about putting yourself out there. We're talking about putting your product out there. And I know I need to do a better job of just letting folk know about this space because this is a very powerful space. I'll tell you all, these webcasts and the content and the people who are joining me on these spaces is getting more and more powerful. So this is what I need you to do. Those of you all who made it to the end of this, thank you for the investment that you made into yourself tonight. Make sure that you share this. Make sure that you like it. Make sure that you engage with it if you're like watching this live and or if you watch the playback after the fact. We're definitely going to have some watch parties later on this week because I want people to be able to glean from what it was that Joe shared with us today. And he is amazing with some of those one-liners and the quotes and things of that nature. So a lot of the content today was very memorable. So this is the Live Your Best Life webcast. Thank y'all for joining on today. If you got any comments, hit me in the messenger. Let me know how we can make this better. Because again, I was convicted in that way tonight. So I might do a better job of investing and just really getting this out there because it can really help and serve people who watch it. All right, y'all. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.